So fast forward, long story short, this dude went for a joyride in my car and wrecked it, totaled the car, and a few days later they found in a junkyard. Welcome back to my channel. If you guys are tuning in for the first time, my name is Marsh Pillai. Let's get to the video. But before we do that though, how are you guys feeling? If my voice comes across a little funny across this video, I apologize in advance. I have been suffering with allergies for the last few days, but the grind does not stop. So let's get to the topic, guys. Today, we're gonna talk about my Turo horror story and if I'm gonna put my C8 on Turo to make some extra money or not. Let's get it. So what is Turo? Turo is a peer-to-peer car sharing company. So what that means is, let's say if you are an owner who has two cars, right? You can basically rent out one of your car to someone else who are looking to rent a car. And for a renter, how it's beneficial is instead of going to Hertz or budget car rental and renting out your boring old Nissan Altima, you can go to Turo and rent a Charger Hellcat or a Porsche 718 or any car of your choice and roll up in style. So it's basically like an Airbnb of cars, right? It's interesting concept, but it does work. I've experienced both sides of the coin. As a renter, I've rented multiple cars through Turo, and I even plan to rent a supercar this summer through Turo for the channel. And also as a owner, I've had one of my own cars put on the platform for other people to rent, and I've made some money off it as well. So we're gonna talk today about the pros and cons, what I learned from it, and if I'm going to put my C8 Corvette in the platform or not. So let's talk about my part in Turo, how it all started, right? I used to live in Detroit, Michigan a few years before, and if you do not know, it snows like crazy over there. And I had a C7 Corvette at that time, and I wasn't able to drive that throughout the year. So I had to put it in the garage during the winter for about maybe like 4 months out of the year. So because of that, and to be able to travel during the winter periods, I had to have a second car. So I already had a Dodge Charger V6. So when I purchased my C7 Corvette, I did not sell that Dodge because of these reasons. So I was just thinking through like ways how to offset some of the cost of operating two cars. It doesn't make mathematical or financial sense. That's not how you get wealthy, right? So I've been thinking of a few ways, and one fine Sunday evening, one of my buddies, he just said, hey, have you heard of this thing called Turo where you can rent out your car and make money off it? And in your case, you have two cars, so why not rent out one of your cars maybe a few days a month and it'll pay the car note and stuff. So I was like, whoa, that seems like a wise idea for my situation at least, right? So let me check this out. And when I checked the website and stuff, it seemed legit, you know? And I was like, okay, why not? Extra money, and I can also maintain two cars. And during the winter, I can drive the Charger and stuff. So I was young and ready to take all kinds of risks to make that dough, you know? So it made sense for me, right? So I listed my Dodge Charger, took pictures of the car, listed on the platform. And within a week of me putting the ad on the platform, my car got rented. And I remember having that car for about maybe like 70 to 85 per day, depending on if it's a weekday or a weekend and how long they're trying to rent and stuff. So within a few weeks, I got my first few $100s. So to me, it was a no-brainer because if I continue to do that, I can offset some of my cost of maintaining two cars and car notes and the insurance and all those good stuff, right? So I continued to do that for a couple of years, and I did almost like 30 trips, meaning like 30 people rented from me my Dodge Charger during different events over the course of 2 years. And over the 2 years, I would say I've made maybe about $5,000 to $6,000. It's not too much, but it's truly passive, right? Basically, you're not doing anything. You're just having two cars and you just allowing someone to pick up your car and drop it off when you're not using it, right? So to me, it made sense, and that's what I did. It all seems good, right? But here's the bad part. Here's the part where it went all the way south, right? So one of my trips, I would never forget this trip. This guy, he said he wanted to rent the car for a few days. I allowed it, confirmed the trip, and I even dropped the car for him in the airport since I was living close to the airport. And this guy is not responding to me when it's time to drop off. And I mean, I got a little bit nervous, and you know, things could go south, right? And then he totally stops responding when it's time past the drop off time, right? So I had to call Turo customer service, and they were trying to locate this dude, and he stopped responding to them. It was a chaos, right? And a few days later, and Turo had me file a police complaint. And at that time, Turo was pretty new, so a lot of people didn't know what Turo is. And when I told the police what happened, and they see it in a way like, hey, you gave him the keys voluntarily, so it's not theft, right? So they didn't look at it or record it as a theft. And Turo had insurance at that time. So I was feeling a little bit better, because if they couldn't recoup my car, at least the insurance company could come out and pay what's the value of the car, right? So fast forward, long story short, this dude went for a joyride in my car and wrecked it, totaled the car, and a few days later they found in a junkyard. When I heard that, man, I was devastated. Even though C7, I had a C7 Corvette at that time, this Dodge Charger was still a baby to me. If you look at all the pictures, you can see I love that car, you know, blacked out rims, blacked out the front grille. It was like a Batmobile to me, right? So when I heard it was totaled, I couldn't believe it, but slowly I was coming to terms with it, and you know, stuff happens, right? But the dude, in the form that he did, like, he could have just called us or the Turo and told, hey, this happened, and then the insurance would take care, right? But the dude completely ghosted me, completely ghosted Turo, and went running after totaling my car, you know? So fast forward, a few weeks later, Turo accommodated me by giving me some rental cars for a few weeks until they evaluated the situation and stuff. And after a few weeks, I had to talk to an appraiser who valued the car at $9,400. The appraiser, to me, undervalued the car a little bit. I felt that the value of the car was maybe like 12 grand, but they came with $9,400, so I had to go back and forth, and they wouldn't budge. They had spent all the money on the rental cars until this time, and I was like, okay, if we can't agree on the price, let's go through arbitration, right? If I believe in something, I'm going till the very end. That's my personality. So I was like, okay, let's fight it out through arbitration. And they cut out all the rental cars during that time. They kind of left me on limbo. And we went through the arbitration, and I wasn't successful. So if you do not know, arbitration is, instead of going to a court, you just take it to a single person who's more like a small claims court, where they hear both sides of the story and make a decision, right? So typically when you sign different contracts on different platforms, they include an arbitration clause. So this is to avoid all the legal expenses and the big lawsuits and things of that nature to benefit the company, right? Since the contract that I signed with Turo had an arbitration clause, I had to go through that, and long story short, the arbitration came out in Turo's favor, right? So they couldn't increase the value of my car, so I had to settle for $9,400. So that's my Turo story. So I would say it went all great for 2 years until this one trip that messed me up and changed my life, right? So, so this wraps up today's video. I hope you guys found this video fun and educational. With that said, I have so much more on this channel coming. Make sure before you leave, hit the subscribe and like button. And I really appreciate that. And I'll see y'all on the next one.